Welcome back, Shalloners. Well, the quarantine, she is a-changin'. We're all starting to get back to real life. Things are opening. We're like emerging from our winter quarantine caves, and we're all thinking about one thing. It's sex. It's sex. We were thinking about sex. We were thinking about boys and dates and touching dudes with our mouths and our hands and the rest of our bodies, and we are all just raring to go. But are we? Because I'm nervous. Aren't you nervous? I'm kind of nervous. We're going to break down how to emerge from quarantine and start to get back into the rhythm of dating, whether you have a boyfriend or whether you're super single, whether hoe is life or whether you're a bit more on the conservative side. I'm going to tell you how to do this all. I'm going to tell you how to make the relationships you have even better and how to craft a relationship that you want if you're single and, kind of getting back out there. But first, before I get started, just want to remind you, if you have a love question of your own, find me on my website, shallonlester.com, and click Get Help to be connected to me. And be sure to find me on Cameo, where I can do a video shout out for you, a pep talk, a birthday wish, anything like that. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO, where you can follow along with, some daily inspirational quotes. And also like my move to Montana, I'm here in a new environment and I'm starting to date too. And it's like, whoa, like not only am I dating in a place like after Corona, so it's like I'm like shaking the dust off after that. I'm in a whole new environment. Like I know how to date in New York. I got it. I know the places to go. I know how to spot a fuckboy. Out here, I'm like, this is a whole new thing. I'm going to do a whole video on dating in New York versus in a small town because it's crazy. But one thing I've noticed is like, I'm kind of afraid of boys because I'm not used to being around them. Like I got a mani-pedi the other day and I was like, oh, finally, like I finally get to get my nails done. But it was like too much touching for me. I felt like I was being manhandled. She was manhandling me a bit. She drew blood. I didn't care. I was like, just please make my feet better. But it was like, oh, like I was overstimulated almost. And I was like, I'm going to have a hell of a time dating. But then I realized this is a good thing. In fact, this is the best thing. A lot of us have been almost like restored to factory settings. Now, I'm a red-blooded American girl. And as a woman, I like men. And like they say in the movie Tombstone, if that makes me unladylike, I guess I'm just not a lady. At least I'm honest. And I know a lot of you guys feel the same way. We like boys. Ooh, we like to date. And so we want to be like released back into the wild to start dating again. But then it's like, even the idea of kissing, my friend was like, I've been trained to stay 6 feet from someone. And now like the idea of someone putting their tongue in my mouth, like our mouth holes, two mucous membranes touching. It's like, we're not supposed to be doing that. So ladies, stay woke and stay vigilant for the fuckboy who asks for a blowjob with no kissing because it's socially distant. So here's what you're going to do if you're single. And then later we're going to talk about what to do if you're coupled up, okay? But I think either one of y'all can get something out of this. So if you're single, this is a fantastic time to reset the bar because we kind of get into a rhythm of dating and very rarely is that a positive rhythm. We get into the rhythm of having one too many drinks on that first Tinder date, swiping on guys that we know, maybe not know, but it's like he lives too far away. I see some red flags in the profile, but I guess I'll give it a shot. Falling into the rhythm of hooking up too soon, getting all twisted over a fuckboy. We have all societally experienced what could be a great boop reset button. Restored to factory settings. I am a blank canvas. And this is collective because scientifically our short-term memory is only a few months. So we've been in lockdown for a few months. So if you feel like maybe pre-corona you were dating someone and like it was getting off course, you were like drinking too much on a date or you hooked up soon, cognitively, that is no longer the thing that's in the foreground of a dude's mind, right? This is good. You want to prey on that. You really can. And this might be the only time in our life that we're going to have this opportunity to erase the past and kind of start over. So in quarantine, there was like the stages of grief, but like the stages of celibacy, where at first we were like, this is fine. I got it. I got this. And then it was like, how long do we think like 2 more weeks? Months, 2 more months. And then came the crazies. And then came, I'm going to text everyone I've ever touched with my body, whether an ex or whatever. Then came, I'm going to get super twisted over this fuckboy who I'm sort of talking to. And I've completely fantasized about our relationship together because I have literally nothing better to do. And then came, The final stage, as grief does, acceptance, where it's like, I don't even understand what a boy is anymore. I don't know what they smell like or look like or feel like. I have no clue what a man is. No clue whatsoever. I'm a girl and I don't know. So this is a good thing because you want to lean into that acceptance. You want to embrace the loneliness. There's nothing left to fear. We've already been celibate. It's just a sexless wasteland. And that's okay because you know what? You're still here, right? You're still surviving. You've probably moved through that acceptance and you're like, all right, instead of like constantly obsessing about dudes, maybe I've been putting my energy towards things that make me happy, right? Because I can't like sit and spiral, even if you have a crush, even if you match on Tinder, because people are like, Shallon, like, why aren't you on Tinder? You should be Tindery. And I'm like, to what possible end? Say I match with someone, like, it's not even like there was an end date where it's like, okay, like June 1st, everything is open. I know I'm going to be able to see a guy then, so I can like kind of plan backwards about when I can start talking to people. It was just like, I don't know. So I didn't want to have these like digital only relationships with someone that I'd never met, because what if we have no chemistry in person? What if he has weird teeth or, you know, I'm a big teeth person. I have nice teeth, so I want my teeth. Anyway, so I kind of like gave up and I was like, all right. The good thing is when we get restored to factory settings, that kind of restores us to being a prude. I always say I was a virgin until I was 21. Like I was, you know, on the older side compared to what a lot of people are doing. And I truly think it like was the best. It was the best thing for me. Dude, it made me really good in bed. If you're not serving the main course, you get really good at making appetizers. That is all I am going to say to you about that. But it anchored me that like when hoe becomes life, you know, when I'm in a hoe phase, I'm like, no. Hoe historically has not been life. Prudishness has been life. I know how to re-embody that self. I know how to put up those boundaries. My God, if I was doing it at 19, 20, 21, when everyone was wasted at frat parties and everyone wanted to hook up, I can do it now as a thinking, feeling, living, breathing adult, right? And so I've tried to get back to that. I have tried to reframe who I was because, yeah, it's like you go through a hoe phase, and because of society and how society judges us when we're in a hoe phase, we apply a label to ourselves that isn't always very complimentary. You know, it's like, well, I don't know, I fucked the last 3 guys I've gone out with. Why would I fuck this dude? It's like, because it doesn't make you happy. And dude, sometimes it does. Go for it. Hoe is life. Hoe is fun. Hoe is fun. Be a slut. Do whatever you want. But just make sure it's authentic. Make sure that that's actually what you want to be doing. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. And there's no wrong or right way to play things to ensure that you get a positive outcome. And that's what's annoying. The biggest fuckboy in my entire life, I was like 27, he was 40. This is why I don't like older dudes, for real. We never hooked up, right? I never had sex with him because he was such a player that I was like trying so hard to manipulate the situation to get like a positive outcome. And like, he broke my heart, and we were on and off for so long, and we never did have sex. But then I slept with another guy. The first date, we dated for a year. You just never know. Like there's no like perfect algorithm. But for the most part, you want to make them wait, girls. You want to make them wait. You do. Men are hunters. They're hardwired to hunt. And what does a hunter want? A chase. It's like in Jurassic Park, like the T-Rex has the goat chained up, or the velociraptor, and the guy's like, she doesn't want to be fed, she wants to hunt. And I was like, oh, that stuck with me. I got a lot of romantic lessons out of Jurassic Park, actually. Maybe I'll do a video on that. How Jurassic Park changed my love life. Weirdo. But it's true, and I go back to that. Like, boys want a hunt. And if you can withhold, they get obsessed with you. Now, this is the tricky part, because there's like a tipping point where it becomes false, like it was with that fuckboy. Like it was so, there were such machinations in me holding out. It was so fake that it had the same air of desperation that hooking up too soon did. You know what I mean? Like it was the opposite end of the exact same spectrum. So you got to do things when they feel right. And that's different for every person, and that's different for every relationship. But my rule is just wait as long as you can. If nothing else, it builds a sexual tension, and that's really fun. As with so many things in life, it's the anticipation, not necessarily the act of doing it, whether it's going to Disneyland or ordering your food or sleeping with a guy. Like it's it's like, oh, the buildup and the imagination and just everything. And then it's the remembrance, it's the memories. So wait as long as you can. And like I said, we have got the perfect excuse post-corona. Like I said, also, I was like overstimulated when I was getting my nails done. And I'm in my new life here. I've been on a few dates. And I have not I've been out with this one person a few times. And we haven't even touched, we've hugged hello and hugged goodbye. But then just the other day, our knees touched under the table at lunch. And I was like, oh my gosh. Old Shallon, a few years ago, heyday of New York, might not have been that way, but everything is so slowed down, partly because I think dudes out here are just they're more gentlemanly, honestly, but the tail wags the dog, they're gentlemanly because I'm a little bit prudish-ier, and they respond to that, and then that bolsters me. I was like, oh, I'm allowed to be a little bit more of a prude. Okay, good. Whereas in New York and stuff, and I know it's not just New York, but that's just my only experience. If you think that's required of you, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to get drunk, we're making out, and then I'm coming home to your apartment. It's oh, well, okay. That's what everyone's doing. And so that's weird if I don't do that. These are all just micro calculations in our mind. And so much of it is what society has told us. And it's fucked up that society tells us that we have to be good girls and sluts at the same time. It's fucked up because we're what? What are we supposed to be doing? And that's why it's just all about authenticity, which sounds easy, but it's actually the hardest path to walk. What really works for me? What works for you is going to change as your life goes on. There are times when you're going to be running through a dude a week, maybe a dude a day, girl, and you're like, hey, I'm experiencing things, I'm branching out, I'm shaking the dust off, good for me, good for you. But just always check in with yourself and be like, is this still making me happy? And right now, me being a prude is making me happy. Making me another word that starts with an H, but it for now is making me happy. It's also allowed me to get to know people, obviously, on a more personal level. It's the most obtuse realization. It's no shit. If you don't sleep with someone right away, you get to know them better. Okay. It is a biological fact that when we are attracted to someone, the part of our brain responsible for decision making and logic shuts off. It just shuts right off. Right? And so if we can keep those hormones at bay and not escalate them by hooking up, we have a better chance of judging someone a bit more neutrally. This is also giving us a chance to erase our type. The people who I thought were my type, that kind of doesn't exist anymore, because the great pausing that was quarantine, the great reset, the great absence of FOMO made me realize that a lot of the people I was attracted to or dating was reactionary. Someone said to me once that every guy you date is just some version of your first love over and over and over. And then you meet another love and then the next people are that. And I was like, oh my God, that's so true. That's so true. I was looking for on paper boxes that dudes check that remind me of somebody else, or I was doing the opposite. It's I don't want to date, my ex was XYZ, so I want to date someone who's ABC. And it's it was all just purified and washed away in quarantine. And now I'm I just feel reset. I'm oh, I'm talking to dudes that I didn't think I would want to. Part of it's desperation. Let's not be crazy. It's oh, suddenly the pool is very wide and the bar is very low. I'm suddenly very interested in just talking to all sorts of boys because I've been starved for attention. But hey, it's not a bad thing, because the people that I'm dating now are completely different than who I've been dating typically. Part of that is logistical. There's not a lot of men in New York City who know how to hunt moose. There's just not a lot of moose opportunities. Not a lot of moose-based culture in New York City, as it turns out. Who knew? But I really think a lot of it was a quarantine, that I just felt now I can kind of start over. It's giving me a reason to just pull back, ask myself, what do I want? What do I need? I don't remember what my love life used to look like. So I don't have any expectations for what it needs to look like in the future now. I feel really, really free. And as Janis Joplin said, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose, right? God knows, isn't that true, ladies? So when you're getting back out there dating, there's two ways you can do this. You can be just this sealed vessel, like a Vestal Virgin, and you can be real prudish and really slowly reacclimate to being around other people, having someone touch you, like the smell of a man, you know? And like the weight of a boy on top of you is like, oh my God, this is crazy and so foreign. And so you can go really, really, really slow. Or if the floodgates have opened and you're like, I don't know, I'm a starving person at a buffet, I'm not gonna go slow. Okay, I get it. Have a fuckboy on the side. Not a fuckboy in like he's mean and he's jerky, but like a boy who fucks. Have a booty call or something on the side so you can get your yayas out. Don't go in with a loaded gun. And then you can approach the actual dates a little bit more neutrally. And if you don't want to have a dude on the side, you need to have a toy on the side. And I want to talk to you guys again about Adam and Eve. We did a promotion with Adam and Eve during quarantine, and you bought them out. Like good for you. Girls, get it. Get a battery operated dude. There's so many things that we can outsource nowadays. So why not? So if you go to adamandeve.com and use code Shallon at checkout, you get 50% off one item plus free shipping to the US and Canada. There's a few exclusions that are in place, but really not many. And you guys can just go get things taken care of because, I mean, you need it. And Adam and Eve is great. They have such a wide variety of stuff. If you just want something like simple, if you want to get a little bit more experimental, everything comes in a very plain box as well. So that's great. And this is also good for couples. So let's move on to couples. If you're coupled up, let's build in more of a quarantine into your relationship. Now, I know this is the last thing you want to do, right? You just want to see each other. You want to spend all your time together. But think about how much fonder this absence made your heart. And a little can go a long way. But while you were in quarantine, like I said, you were probably working on yourself more than you normally would. A lot of times we get in relationships, we spend 5 nights a week over at a dude's house. Our sleep suffers, our laundry suffers, our chores suffers, our side hustles suffer. So build back in some of that quarantine energy. Be like, no, Sunday nights, Tuesday nights, that's Shallon time. That's my alone lady time. If he misses me, then he can just miss me. Also, another thing that both sides should do, whether you're coupled up or single, activities. Because people haven't been doing anything for the last 3 or so months, they have nothing to talk about. How was your week? How was your day? It's like, there was nothing, Jeff. There was nothing, right? So I have been going on a lot of dates that are very, very action-based. We've been going shooting. We've been going hiking. We've been going driving around to the countryside. We're not just sitting in a bar with vodka sodas being like, yeah, so, because like I said, your short-term memory is only a few months. So we can't remember, at least, easy recall, kind of what we were doing before quarantine. Like I have to sit and think, like, what was I doing in like late February, early March? I mean, it doesn't matter what I was doing because whatever I was planning didn't happen. Whatever activities I was doing don't exist anymore. Or I'm not doing, it's like I can talk about my childhood. That's long-term memory, but short-term memory is sort of not there. So it's important to build new memories. And it's real hard to give a blowjob on a first date if that blowjob is happening like at a shooting range, or you don't have to go shooting. I'm in Montana, so this is what we do. But do you know what I mean? Like if you're out doing something interactive, if you're at a mini golf course, number one, you're not drinking as much. You're releasing endorphins because you're doing something physical. Those endorphins promote bonding. They release the bonding hormone, oxytocin, and that is what you want. It's also a lot easier to get to know someone organically when you're both engaged in the same activity, right? You can see how someone deals with problems. You can see if they're patient. You can see how they treat people who perhaps are at a lower class, like how they treat their waiter, how they treat that goofy golf attendant. Treat them how they react when they get frustrated, when they get lost, when the GPS doesn't work. It gives us a better sense of someone's personality. Because I talk to you guys a lot, and one thing I hear a lot is, I went out on 2 dates with this guy and I liked him so much and then he ghosted, or I went out on 3 dates. The first date or two, they're a peek under the hood. They're a peek under the hood. They are very much what people want us to know. They're a curated vision, a crafted persona. They are not everything that's there, both good and bad. And a lot of times we think, we had one good conversation with someone, we had one good date. That implies that there's 1,000 wonderful dates beneath that. Well, Sometimes there's only one or two. Sometimes they're, guys can be a 1 minute man. They can be a 1 date man. They can be a 3 minute man. They can be a 3 date man or a 3 week man. And we don't know this. And again, our judgment will get clouded if we sleep with them too soon. So we gotta draw it out. Give someone enough rope to hang themselves. Give someone enough time and room to reveal who they truly are. Because I'll tell you something, and we've talked about this before. A fuckboy is a firework. A quality guy is a fireplace. What's the difference? A firework, boom, flash, bang. It starts big, it starts strong, and it is gone just as fast. Fireplace takes a minute to get going. Takes a minute to heat up, but it keeps you hotter longer. It burns longer and more substantially. And that's why I always try to go out with people like more than just once, because quality guys, they're growers, not showers. Do you know that I was talking to a dude, he'd never heard that phrase? I was like, you've never heard the phrase, he's a grower, not a shower. And I'm like, I guess, do you guys know what that means? It's a penis thing. Just explain in the comments. Somebody explain in the comments. I'm too much of a lady. But personality-wise, people are growers and showers. And I was thinking back on like a first date that I had with this boy, and I was like, I feel like I was watching myself from the outside. I didn't feel like I was being myself. I was nervous because I haven't gone on a date in so long. I mean, even pre-corona, like I was with my ex-boyfriend for a long time. And then like, just as I was like, okay, maybe I'm ready to date, boom, the lockdown hit. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die alone. So I just felt really rusty. And I'm like, well, I'm glad we had a few more dates, for us both to loosen up. So we were doing activity-based things, and that really, really expedited the getting to know you process, but in like a good way. It wasn't so curated. People just aren't very good at like keeping up that facade if they're having to do something else. They can't pat their head and rub their tummy at the same time. So if you get a guy and you're out doing something, he's going to be off kilter enough that he's not going to be able to craft that fake persona quite so easily. And so you're going to be able to see a fuckboy. And speaking of fuckboys, let's talk about fuckboys. Probably should have said this up front. We always got to remember, ladies, that a fuckboy's primary aim is to, yes, we got it. We got it. That's why we call them that. And you know what a fuckboy is above all things? Impatient. Impatient. So if you hold off, if you pump the brakes, in the beginning, and you're not touching and pawing him, you're not getting wasted at the bars, you're not going home with him, a fuckboy might give up. Let him go. Let him go. If it's fragile, let it break. A fuckboy is like a hungry person, like a starving person at a drive-thru, or a 5-star Michelin restaurant that it's 7 courses. If you are starving, where are you going? You're going to the drive-thru. I'm going to the drive-thru. I don't want to wait. I don't really care about the quality. I just need to eat. And that's what you want to weed out. And if you feel like you're a fuck girl, you're like, no, I need to eat. I am at 10 drive-thrus at once. Then you got to get that friend with benefits on the sides, or go to adamandeve.com. Like I said, use code Shallon and get something that is a little less maintenance, shall we say. So if you are getting that vibe from a dude that he's impatient, he's got to go. Are you someone's drive-thru? Are you a McDonald's? Are you the Burger Queen? No, girl, you're not. You're Per Se. You're Nobu. You're Jean-Georges. You're Danielle. You are a Michelin-starred restaurant. You are the prize. You are the prize. We gotta remember how valuable we are as women. When you think about it, a man's entire existence is funneled down to sex, to getting women to like him, right? From the flashy cars, to the hair transplants, to the lying about their height. Like, it's all about mateability. Obviously, you can say the same thing about women. We're hardwired to mate. That's what animals do. That's their primary focus in life. But that means that we can withhold. My friend, I love her, and she's sort of like a big sis to me. And she was always like, golden triangle. You got the golden triangle, girl, and it rules the world. But we have to know our value. And like I said, hoe can be life. Sure, go for it. If that's what you want to do, girl, get it on. But never lose sight that you are the prize here. You are the prize. You could go out and fuck any dude you want. You could. If you just wanted to get laid, that is out there. You know the term incel, involuntary celibate? It's like beta males who are pissed because girls won't sleep with them. This one dude just blew his hand off. I hope it was his jerking off hand. Blew his hand off, making a bomb that he was gonna like throw at a bunch of cheerleaders at his school or something. Like, and the thing is, like, he wasn't a bad looking dude. And I'm like, see, that just goes to show, like, you're not an involuntary celibate. Like, you're not getting laid because you're gross. You're not getting laid because of your behavior, bro. Like, it's not girls reject you. It's you. Like, it's you who are acting like this. They're going to swarm the comment section. They're going to swarm the fucking comment section. And I love it when they do, because it's like, way to self-identify. No alpha male would be pissed that I was saying this. He'd be like, yeah, that's completely true. But when these like betas swarm the comments, it's like, I see you 4 inches on a good day with some Photoshop. Nice try. Where was I going with this? Oh, my point is, there's no female incels. There's no girls who cannot get laid. We might not have an easier time finding love, but sex? You could walk into any bar, in any country, anywhere in the world and say, I am DTF. Who's with me? And hands will go up. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how long it's been since you got that bikini wax. It doesn't matter. And so that tells me that we've got the power. We also know that we have the power because men are deeply afraid of us. They're afraid of us. And that's why they have to tear us down. That's why they have to oppress us. You know? So if we're already being torn down and oppressed because we have power, isn't it time we started harnessing the power? Right? We're like an X-Man that never uses our power, but we're in like the X-Man jail. What the fuck's the point of that? Let's use our power. So go into dating armed with the knowledge that you are the prize. You are the one holding out if you want. You are the one calling the shots. You are the one deciding when that sexual encounter takes place. Not him, not society, not your friends, not pressure, not anything else. You and you alone. So before you start to go on those dates, set those boundaries. What do I feel like? And you might not know until you get into it. I didn't. I thought I was going to hit the ground running. Ho was going to be life. And now I'm like, I'm nervous. I have a date tonight. I don't know. It's like, we might be alone and I'm just, nervous. I'm nervous, but I have my boundaries in place. And so like, I'm like excited nervous. I'm excited nervous. I'm not, oh my God, I'm nervous like I'm on a diet and I'm going to like a dessert bar nervous. I'm nervous excited, not I don't trust myself. Because in quarantine, I really spent the time evaluating what I want. What do I need? What do I want out of my life? Do I just want to hook up a lot? Maybe. Okay, maybe I thought so, but maybe I actually, and when like I started dating, I was like, sure, like I'm down, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. But then, you meet people who kind of change your mind. You're like, oh, I see some real quality connection here. So I'm going to play it a little different. And I'm glad that I went into it with more of a prudish attitude because, it's really hard to put the genie back in the bottle. Like once you start to hook up, it's hard to kind of go back and be like, the thing we did the other day, the sex, we're not going to do that again. I'm a good girl. I'm not that kind of girl. It's like, okay, all right. You gotta just play the cards that you got at this point, but that's okay. Like I said, if it's fragile, let it break. And if he's a fuckboy and he's a leaver, from my experience with my fuckboy, it's not going to matter if you put out or if you hold out. A leaver is a leaver, and there's no way we can play it to change someone else. We just have to do what's authentic to us and ourselves, because then however the chips fall, we know we've been true to ourselves. And if it turns out we didn't like the outcome, it's all just data. It's all just data, baby girl. That's all right. You're like, all right, I did this, I didn't like the outcome. I didn't do this, I did like that. We're just going to refine and go into it in the next phase. I believe that the root word of dating is data. So just kind of make that your mantra and just take things slow. You can always put on the gas. It's hard to pump the brakes when the bra's off. So don't be afraid. Tell me your post-quarantine dating fears in the comments. Share with each other. I love it when you guys connect with each other because I know you all are super helpful with one another. And once again, if you want to order anything off adamandeve.com, use code Shallon at checkout for 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada with some exclusions. I'll talk to you later, Shalloners.